You know that feeling when you realize that as you get older, the world just seems a little less magical? It's like that deep, vibrant curiosity you had as a kid kind of fades away and it gets replaced by, well, just the day-to-day grind. It's a feeling that we've gotten so used to the fact that we exist that we've completely stopped being amazed by it. But what if there was a way to get that wonder back? Well, there's a book, one of the most unique novels I've ever read, that is all about fighting that exact feeling.
This one line, man, it is right at the heart of the philosophical mystery novel Sophie's World. It's a message from a teacher to his young student, and it's basically the book's entire mission statement: to be a guide for rediscovering that sense of awe that, let's be honest, most of us have lost along the way.
So the book has this fantastic analogy to explain what happens to us. It says most adults are like these tiny little mites living deep, deep inside a rabbit's fur. They're so cozy, so buried in the warmth and the routine of it all, that they completely forget about the vast, incredible universe that exists just outside. They've stopped looking up at the stars.
Okay, so how do you climb out of the rabbit's fur? The book's answer is philosophy. But wait, it's not what you think. This isn't some dry, stuffy academic subject. No, it's the ultimate tool for wonder. The book redefines a philosopher as simply someone who has never gotten used to the world. They're the ones who just keep asking the big questions, with the same curiosity as a little kid.
And our guide on this whole journey is Sophie Amundsen. Now, she's a pretty typical 14-year-old living in Norway, but her totally ordinary life gets interrupted one day when she goes to check her mailbox. She finds a small, plain envelope with just her name on it. No stamp, no return address.
Inside, there's no long letter, just a little slip of paper with this one simple yet absolutely massive question. Who are you? And it just stops her in her tracks. And honestly, it's meant to stop us too. Her first thought is, well, I'm me, but she realizes pretty quickly that's not a real answer, is it? That one little question has planted a seed of doubt, of philosophy.
And then, a little while later, a second letter shows up. This one has another universe-sized question. And these letters, they're the beginning of a secret, long-distance philosophy course from a mysterious teacher who eventually just calls himself Albert Knox. Her journey out of the rabbit's fur has officially begun.
So through these anonymous letters, and later face-to-face, Albert takes Sophie on this absolute whirlwind tour of Western philosophy. And she doesn't just read about these big ideas, she kind of experiences them, traveling through 3,000 years of human thought, all from her quiet little suburb.
She starts way, way back with the first Greek philosophers who tried to explain the world without myths. From there, it's on to the big three: Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Then she moves into the God-focused world of the Middle Ages, the human-centric explosion of the Renaissance, the reason-obsessed Enlightenment, and finally, all the way to 20th century existentialism. And here's the key. She learns how each era of thinking was really just a reaction to the one that came before it.
And this journey brings her to one of the oldest debates in philosophy. You've got Plato on one side, arguing that the truly real world is this realm of perfect, unchanging ideas. Like the idea of a horse is more real than any actual horse you can see. But then his own student, Aristotle, comes along and is like, no way. For him, the real world is the one right in front of us, the one we experience with our senses. What you can see and touch, that's reality. It's philosophy wrestling with the most basic question: what is real?
Now, this debate went on for centuries, literally, until the philosopher Immanuel Kant showed up with this totally revolutionary idea that kind of merged the two. He suggested that, well, maybe we can't ever really know the world as it is. We can only know the world as our own minds are built to perceive it.
And Kant's idea is captured in this just perfect analogy. He said, time and space are like a pair of red glasses we can never take off. Think about it. If you were born wearing them, you'd swear the world was red. But that's not the world itself. It's the world filtered through your lenses. Kant argued our minds have these built-in lenses, like time, space, cause and effect, that shape every single thing we experience.
So right as Sophie is getting her head around these huge ideas about what reality even is, her own reality starts to, well, it starts to bend and break. A series of bizarre, totally impossible clues start popping up in her world, hinting that something is very, very wrong.
Okay, get this. She finds a postcard addressed to some girl named Hilde, but it's delivered to her house. She sees a postmark on a letter from the future. Things she loses, like a scarf, somehow reappear in the possession of this mysterious figure who seems to know her every move, her every thought, almost like a god. The philosophy lessons are not just theory anymore. They're getting terrifyingly real.
And then the floor just drops out from under her. Albert Knox finally tells Sophie the impossible truth. He, Sophie, their entire world, none of it is real. They are fictional characters inside a book called Sophie's World, which is being written by a man named Albert Nog as a 15th birthday present for his real daughter, Hilde.
So, what do you do? What do you do when you find out your whole life is a fiction, that your thoughts are being written by someone else, and that your free will is just an illusion? Do you just give up, or do you fight back? This is the moment where all those philosophy lessons suddenly become a plan of action.
To fight back, they turn to existentialism. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre famously said, "Existence precedes essence." What that means is, we aren't born with some predefined purpose or nature. We just exist first, and then, through the choices we make and the actions we take, we define who we are. For Sophie, this isn't just a cool quote. This is a declaration of war against her author.
So Sophie and Albert cook up an escape plan. They decide to use the chaos of Sophie's upcoming birthday party, a big scene the author is sure to write in detail, to do something he would never expect. By announcing the truth to all the other characters, they hope they can overload the author's mind, create a glitch in the story, a crack they can slip through.
And the wild part is, it works. Sophie and Albert manage to escape the pages of the book and emerge into Hilda's reality. But, of course, there's a catch. In this new, real world, they're like ghosts, invisible, unable to touch anything. But they're free. They're not puppets anymore. And they even discover they can have a tiny ghost-like influence back on the world of the story they just left.
This beautiful line from the end of the book just brings everything full circle. Those huge philosophical questions like where did the universe come from, they're ultimately tied to the most personal question of all, who am I? The search for our cosmic origins is really a search for ourselves.
And that right there is the final brilliant trick of Sophie's World. After we watch Sophie realize she's just a character in a book, the story very cleverly forces us, the actual readers, to ask the same thing. How can we be so sure that our reality is the real one? The whole story becomes a mirror pointed right at us.
So, I'll leave you with this. If you found out that your life was a story being written by somebody else, would you just passively follow the script, or would you try to write your own ending? The book suggests that living like a philosopher, with wonder, with questions, and with the courage to make your own choices, that's how we all escape the script, whether it's real or not.